At a wedding held in a hotel, Tommy Covington is filming his friend Skylar as she makes final adjustments to the wedding decorations. Allison is assisting and urging Tommy to participate as well. As the wedding progresses, Tommy sets up a camera as Dan and Skylar proceed to the altar. The couple is then officially pronounced husband and wife before transitioning to their reception. Afterward, Tommy finds himself in the elevator with Skylar's parents and takes the opportunity to inquire about the secret to their enduring marriage. Just as they compliment Skylar on her flawless wedding, the lights flicker ominously and Skylar's parents collapse. Tommy rushes off to seek assistance, only to discover a scene of chaos in the reception area, with several people lying on the floor. Hurriedly descending the stairs, he locates Jack, Dan, Skylar, and the motionless figure of Lauren. Tommy shares the news about Skylar's parents with Jack, unaware that Skylar is within earshot. Determined to locate Allison amidst the escalating pandemonium outside, Tommy and Jack return indoors just in time for an earthquake to strike, sending everyone scrambling for safety as debris begins to fall. A sudden, piercing trumpet sound halts everyone momentarily before fading away. Tommy quickly informs the group of Allison's location, prompting them to rush for safety once more as lightning strikes the surrounding area. Skylar expresses her belief that these events mark the biblical end of the world, while Tommy argues for a scientific explanation rather than a fantastical one. Continuing on their path, they encounter large hailstones plummeting from the sky. Seeking refuge, they all seek shelter in a nearby library, though amidst the commotion, they lose sight of Skylar. The group disperses to search the area, and Tommy unexpectedly encounters Sam during his quest. Eventually, he locates Skylar, who is in search of a Bible. Sam provides her with one, and Skylar searches for a particular passage. Reading about hail falling from the sky, she expresses unease, believing she shouldn't be experiencing such events because of her church attendance. They depart to find Allison, with Tommy proposing she might be at a nearby church. Jack questions how he arrived at that conclusion, but follows the suggestion nonetheless. Skylar hesitates to leave, but Sam sides with Tommy in agreeing that they all should go. The piercing sound echoes once more, drawing their attention to a downed airplane nearby. Continuing their journey, Skylar begins to pray, and shortly after they hear the same loud trumpet-like noise. This prompts them to look up for the source, but before they can discern anything, an unknown creature snatches Skylar away. After dropping her a short distance away, the group rushes to her aid. Despite sustaining injuries, Skylar is alive as they make their way towards safety at the nearby church. Upon reaching it, Pastor Shea opens the door, granting them entrance to the sanctuary where a small group has already gathered. Tommy queries Pastor Shea about their safety, and the pastor assures him they are secure. Jack spots Allison and rushes over to embrace her. Concerned about Lauren, Allison asks for news, and the group somberly informs her of the situation. Meanwhile, in another area, Nurse Rachel attends to Skylar's injuries, with Dan recounting their history to comfort her. Turning to Pastor Shea, Tommy seeks clarity on the events outside the church. The pastor explains the unfolding rapture, which Tommy doubts. Pastor Shea insists that they all witness the same evidence but interpret it individually, leaving conclusions to each person. Tommy speculates about aliens being responsible for Allison's attack, leading Pastor Shea to chuckle and suggest that they will eventually uncover the truth. As more survivors arrive at the church, including a pregnant woman, Nurse Rachel assists in delivering the baby. Sadly, the newborn is stillborn. Tommy joins Pastor Shea in digging a grave for the infant. Tommy admits his premonition about the baby's fate, which Pastor Shea acknowledges, emphasizing the child's innocence. While digging, Pastor Shea explains that God has taken all believers and innocent souls to eternal life. Tommy queries Pastor Shea about why he wasn't taken in the rapture, to which the pastor implies that despite his position, his faith might not have been sincere. In the sanctuary, the group tunes into a news report discussing the rapture, which is termed instant death syndrome. The broadcast highlights similar occurrences happening worldwide, with individuals from diverse backgrounds experiencing the rapture. Reflecting on a previous conversation with Allison, Jack contemplates the unfolding events. They exchange apologies. Meanwhile, in the kitchen area, Sam watches a family video of her mom's birthday. Tommy joins her and asks about her parents, learning that they were taken. In the sanctuary, they continue to watch news reports and videos, particularly focusing on the unusual global weather patterns. In a secluded hallway, Dan attends to Skylar, who remains weak from her injuries. Meanwhile, Jack confesses to Allison, admitting his uncertainty about why he waited so long to propose, but reaffirming his love for her. As Jack begins his proposal, Tommy interrupts by presenting a clip of Allison's attack. Pastor Shea joins to watch the footage. He details not only the global events unfolding, but also the creature responsible for Skylar's attack. They slow down the clip to examine an image of the creature, which Pastor Shea identifies as one of the fallen. He further warns that the world's condition will only worsen over time. In the hallway, Skylar remains in pain from her wound, expressing that it feels like it's burning. She insists on leaving the church and has to be restrained. Nurse Rachel assesses the situation, noting that Skylar urgently needs antibiotics, which are in her car. Dan, Johnny, and Jack step up to retrieve the medicine, despite the risks involved. However, only Dan and Tommy end up leaving, rushing to find Nurse Rachel's car. They locate the vehicle and quickly search for the antibiotics. Their mission encounters a setback when one of the fallen attacks the car. Fortunately, they narrowly escape and make a dash back to the safety of the church. Upon returning, Dan delivers the antibiotics to Nurse Rachel. As night falls, Nurse Rachel checks on Skylar, observing that her injuries have worsened with the infection spreading. She explains that Skylar needs something resembling an antivenom. Dan proposes going to the hospital, but Tommy advises against it, citing that the fallen have only attacked at night. Later, Tommy has a meeting with Pastor Shea in his office. The pastor reassures Tommy that it's not too late to have faith. Although he acknowledges that they missed the opportunity to be taken in the rapture, he emphasizes that there is still hope. Pastor Shea steps into the sanctuary and introduces himself to the congregation. He openly admits his failures as a pastor, referring to himself as a fraud. He characterizes this moment as a wake-up call for everyone to embrace the challenging path to eternal life. However, his speech is abruptly interrupted by loud bangs against the church walls and ceilings. In a flurry of activity, everyone rushes to the basement for safety, only to find Nurse Rachel missing. They hear the fallen above them and Nurse Rachel at the door, but their rescue efforts are futile as she is quickly dragged away. Suddenly, Pastor Shea proclaims that the fallen are there for him and steps outside the door, sacrificing himself. The following morning, they cautiously open the basement door and ascend back upstairs. Observing the chaotic state of the sanctuary and the tragic loss of Pastor Shea, they decide to exit the church. Stepping outside, the group heads toward the hospital, only to discover it deserted. Despite their efforts, they are unable to locate any medication for Skylar. Jack volunteers to search for a doctor, prompting Allison to advise him to be cautious. As the rest of the group waits in anticipation, Sam shares her theory about what happens after death with Allison. Allison acknowledges that some people view this theory as evidence of God's existence, a belief she also shares. In the upper floors, Tommy and Jack persist in their search, entering a dimly lit surgical room. Meanwhile, Allison senses the presence of one of the fallen below them, a feeling that also alerts Tommy and Jack upstairs. They comb through another corridor and then a restroom, but their efforts yield no findings. Below, Skylar awakens and extends her forgiveness to Dan for everything, confessing that despite attending church, she never truly had faith. As she experiences a vision of light, Skylar peacefully passes away in Dan's embrace. Touched by the moment, Allison begins to pray, prompting Dan to bitterly question why she prays to a God who would permit such tragedies to happen. He storms off in frustration. Allison requests Sam to record her admission of her lack of faith, but their conversation is cut short by noises from the fallen. Meanwhile, outside, Dan expresses his rage towards God, yelling vehemently. Witnessing this, Tommy and Jack intervene, urging Dan to calm down. However, his outburst ends abruptly when he is swiftly killed by one of the fallen and thrown aside. As this tragic event unfolds, Sam continues to film Allison, capturing another glimpse of the fallen through her phone's camera. Concerned, Jack and Tommy rush downstairs, only to find Sam and Allison missing, and Skylar now deceased. Tommy locates Sam's phone nearby and plays the final recording. He watches in shock as the recording depicts Allison being attacked, killed, and thrown away by the fallen. Jack discovers Allison's body while Sam emerges from hiding to comfort Tommy with a hug. Tommy, devastated, explains to Jack that they must depart to locate a relief center. They depart from the hospital during the night and make their way toward the relief center. As they gather around a campfire, Sam shares Allison's final recording with Jack and Tommy. She reveals that she has found genuine faith and stresses the importance of making a choice, affirming that she has chosen to place her faith in God. Jack walks away and meets with a pastor. Meanwhile, "Amazing Grace" echoes through a loudspeaker, prompting Tommy to realize that the demons are attracted to believers of faith. He rushes to warn everyone, desperately searching for Jack. However, Jack has undergone baptism as the Fallen launch another attack, leading to his demise. Sam then tells Tommy that they must decide on their faith, disclosing that she also chooses to believe in God. She leaves Tommy behind. As the Fallen descend from the sky in great numbers, both Sam and Tommy meet their end, dragged away as the final recording comes to an end. See you in our next Film Flash. Thank you for watching.